Today's devotional is on the topic of polygamy and the question about what the Bible reveals concerning polygamy. On the one hand, it's pretty clear that polygamous relationships existed in the Bible, in the Old Testament in particular. We see that with Abraham, who was married to Sarah, but then at the same time he had a relationship with Hagar. We see that with Jacob, who had 4 wives. We see it with David, who had multiple wives, and most, if not all, of the kings clearly had more than one wife. Solomon, probably the pinnacle of all the kings, having so many wives, hundreds of wives and concubines. At the same time, the Bible does not say that polygamy is wrong. There is no clear, definitive statement that polygamy is wrong. So what do we make of this? I think the best place to start is Genesis 2, when God creates the first marriage, as it were. Genesis chapter 2, then the Lord God said, "It is not good that the man should be alone. I will make him a helper fit for him." And that word helper is single. It's not plural. It's singular in nature. Then we go down to verse 24. It says, "Therefore a man shall leave his father and his mother and hold fast to his wife." And the word wife is singular, not plural. So it seems that the intention by God is that a man would have one wife. It is true that cultural practices in the ancient Near East did support polygamy. We see that in all kinds of ancient documents that have been discovered. And so it's likely that the fathers, the ancient patriarchs, conformed to many of those ancient Near Eastern practices. And yet it is a little bit strange, if you will, that there's nothing in the Bible that seems to proscribe polygamy. There's nothing that says that it is absolutely wrong. And so what do we make of it? It's hard to say. The Bible does not condone polygamy. The Bible seems to promote the marriage of just 2 individuals, singular. One man, one woman. And so I think that's the ideal. I think that's what we should strive for, naturally. I think that's the way we've been practicing it in Christian history for over 2,000 years, and certainly in Judeo-Christian heritage for even longer. Final thing I think I'd say in support of the idea of just one husband, one wife, is that when Paul talks about marriage in Ephesians 5, he uses marriage as a great metaphor, comparing Jesus's marriage and relationship with the church. And there we have just Jesus, just the church. It's singular. And so insofar as the marriage that Jesus has with his bride, the church, is singular and committed to one another, I think that's probably our best paradigm in the nature of sort of a little bit of uncertainty about how to proceed with an understanding what marriage ought to look like, and that polygamy is not the ideal, not something that God condones, and something that should be avoided. Thank you, and God bless you.